How did Pele play football with a paper sock? Because of his poverty, soccer king Pele had to learn to play football with a sock stuffed with newspaper. At the age of 17, Pele became a global superstar after helping Brazil win its first World Cup in 1958. By the 1970s Mexico World Cup, Pele was in his prime, playing for a team considered by many to be the greatest ever. In Brazil's second match, they faced reigning champions England, with temperatures reaching 37 degrees Celsius in Guadalajara. In the 10th minute, Gerardinho crossed to Pele, who had a mighty header but was miraculously saved by Gordon Banks. Pele later said, "I have scored more than 1,000 goals in my life and people always tell me about the goal that I didn't score." Brazil won 1-0 despite Bobby Moore's fierce defensive performance, including a superb tackle on Gerardinho in the box. Brazil coach Mario Zagallo at the time said, "The match against England is our most difficult test. That is the real final." When the final whistle blew, Pele and Moore hugged and swapped shirts. Pele once said, "He is my friend and also the greatest defender I have ever played against." In the final Brazil beat Italy 4-1, Tarcísio Bergianche, who coached Pele, recalled, "I said to myself before the game, he was just skin and bones like everyone else. But I was wrong." Pele opened the scoring with a delicate header and then delivered a killer pass for Alberto to seal the victory. Alberto once said in an interview, "Playing football with Pele is like having God on your side." Pele's childhood. His real name is Edson Arantes do Nascimento. He was born in the subtropical Três Coracoes in 1940. He is named after inventor Thomas Edison. Pele is the eldest child in the family. His father, João Ramos do Nascimento, was a footballer but his career came to an end due to injury, which plunged the family into poverty. He later recalled his permanent anxiety about running every meal. Pele wrote, "That fear has seeped into my bones." As a child, he used to play football on the street with a sock stuffed with newspaper or a watermelon. His father taught him how to use both feet and practice hitting his head. Like all Brazilian soccer players, he needs a nickname. As a child, his favorite player was goalkeeper Bile, whom he mispronounced Pele. And he chose that name. He scored on his Santos FC debut at the age of 15 in 1956. The following year, he was called up to the national team and scored in a 2-1 loss to Argentina. In 1958, Pele helped Brazil win the World Cup in Sweden. Some locals have never even met a black man. "That Swedish girl kept rubbing my skin to see if it would come off," he recalls. At the 1962 World Cup, he scored in the opening match but then had to limp away from the tournament won by Brazil. 4 years later in England, he was repeatedly fouled and injured again. A year after winning the 1970 World Cup, he retired from international tournaments as the greatest player of all time. He won 6 domestic championships with Santos and 2 Copa Libertadores, the equivalent of Europe's Champions League. In 1975, he joined the New York Cosmos before retiring 2 years later. After retiring from competition, Pele became a UNESCO ambassador and then Brazil's Minister of Sports, and made a fortune from advertising deals, including Viagra. He has long been plagued by health problems. Last year, he had surgery to remove a tumor from his colon. After a long battle with illness, Pele took her last breath at the age of 82 at dawn on December 30, Vietnam time.